Hi there, and welcome to the What's New webinar for the latest version of Mission Control. We're going to take you through all of the new features that are being made available in the latest version that will be released on the App Exchange from Thursday the 1st of June. So at a high level, let's take a look at what's new. Whilst the list of new features is smaller than some of our recent releases, it does include some pretty awesome stuff that's been keeping us really busy. So at a glance, this release includes a brand new project overview page, a new trackpad, and a couple of components that can be made available inside Lightning Experience within a utility bar. There's also a few minor enhancements. We're now going to be locker service compliant. There's a few updates to the action and task integration, and also changes to the completion percentage and project cost enhancements that have been detailed in the release notes. So without further ado, let's jump in and take a look at the project overview page. We're super excited to be delivering this brand new project overview page. It's obviously been a long time coming, and we hope you agree. It's been worth the wait. Obviously we were personally very fond of the original project overview page, and it was actually one of the first things we ever added into Mission Control, and it really helped bring the entire project to life on one page. However, over the years, as we've introduced new functionality to the system, it's obviously been struggling to keep pace with that. So we spent a bit of time considering what options we had available to us to develop a new page, taking into account customer feedback and the opportunities that the Lightning Experience framework now offers us. The result, we believe, is an extremely flexible page that provides you with the same 360-degree view of a particular project, but delivers it in bite-sized chunks that you can control at an individual user level who has access to what. So the project overview page is available in both Lightning Experience and Salesforce Classic. There's a little bit of configuration required if you're using Lightning Experience, which I'll talk you through later in the webinar. And the key thing is the flexibility. It's the fact that we're delivering a page that lets you control on a tab-by-tab basis which user can access which element of information. The new project overview page has a number of tabs, each one providing you with detailed information relating to a specific area of the project. So let's jump in and take a look at an example here. So on this page you can see I've got a number of tabs. I've got Insights, Overview, Detail, Time Logs, Expenses, and so on. So what we'll do is take a quick look at each one, and then for further details please refer to the release notes. So the Insights tab provides you with high-level insights around how your project is performing. So it gives you high-level indicators of things like the budget, who the owner is, how many actions you've got in total, how many are completed, anything that's overdue. If I hover over there, you'll see I get a pop-up window that shows me a quick link through to those overdue actions, so I can try and take some action where needed. I can see risks, my CPI and my SPI, and then I get some bar charts providing some summaries on the billable, the hours, profit and loss, and the invoice status. Then if I click through onto the Overview tab, you'll see again I get a couple of charts there, the completed actions and the overdue, and then I get this tree structure of milestones, actions, and checklists. So by default I can see the milestones, and I can see end date warnings there. So the red one is telling me that it is overdue. The amber one is telling me that it's due within the next 2 days. So then I can break this down, and so if I click on the plus sign, that will take me through to the actions. Now actions here, I can see the key things like the status, start and end dates, and then a summary of the hours there as well. I'm also able to access the resource assignment wizard for any particular action, and I also get a quick indicator there by that icon that this action has contributors on it. Again, if this action has checklist items underneath, what I'm able to do is click the plus sign and expand one level further, and then I can see all of the checklist items under there as well. So for each one, I've got the ability to inline edit, so if I do need to tick that, I can simply tick it, and then that will be marked as complete. Now I also have the ability to edit individual ones or click on manage, and that will take me through to the checklist item component that we're used to seeing on the whiteboard. Clicking on the Detail tab will show me the standard page layout, and the benefit of this one is it gives you the flexibility around who can see which fields on the project. It allows you to obviously manage different page layouts for record types. So giving you a bit of flexibility there around what gets displayed for each individual user. If I navigate to the next tab, which is the time logs, again, I get my burn down chart that you're used to seeing, and I also get a summary there of total hours, hours completed, and what's remaining. If I scroll down, you'll see I get a timeline there showing me the time as it's being logged on the date and by who and what they're doing. Clicking through onto the expenses, again, got a couple of summary charts up here, and then scroll down, I'm able to see the individual expense items. And on each one of these pages I have the ability to edit or delete the individual record. Then we can click onto the Risks tab. That will show me the summary of risks based on their overall risk score and the risk matrix. So depending on how many risks I've got with a particular probability and impact rating, you can see there I've got 2 risks that are high probability, high impact, so therefore that bubble is larger than this one where I've only got 1 risk. Now if I scroll down, I can see the individual risks and again jump through and edit or delete as required. Going through to the Billing tab, again, a couple of charts, gives me a summary of whether they're invoices or credit notes and what status they're in. And then I can also see an overall summary of what the project budget is, what's been invoiced, what's remaining, what's been paid and what's outstanding. And then I can see any billing events here. Again, I'm able to drill down and view the billing event items along with any payments that have been registered. Clicking on the whiteboard, that will give me access to the Kanban whiteboard that you're already familiar with, but it's filtered down for this individual project. So all of the same functionality exists, but pre-filtered, ready to use for this particular project. And then the final tab is the Gantt chart, and again, same Gantt chart as you're used to, and it simply loads up pre-filtered for this project. As I mentioned earlier, we've focused on providing you as much flexibility as possible with regards to how you use the project overview page. So we've given you the ability to control access to each tab and the charts on each tab for each individual role that you have in Mission Control. So a number of new fields to support that have been added to the role object, and you're able to determine which tabs each person has access to. So let's just jump in here and take a look. So for your convenience, what we've done is included a list view that provides you with all of the fields that control the permissions for the project overview page, and equally for your convenience, what we've done is included in an install script as part of upgrading to the latest version. All of these fields will automatically be populated for these records. So you can see here, if you take a look at my record, I've got access to every single tab and all of the charts on those tabs, and my default tab that I want to view when I initially load the page is set to Overview. Now what I can do is actually say, well, I might actually want that to be the Insights tab instead. So what I'm going to do is set that to Insights. Now on my I might want to see the actual the billing tab, but I might not want to see the billing charts. So what I'm going to do is set that one to false. So I'm just going to save that. Now when I go back to my project overview, and I'm just going to refresh that, so you'll see when it initially loads, instead of loading up the overview tab, it's placing me on the Insights tab instead. And then if I take a look at the billing tab, you'll see I have access to the records, but the charts are being hidden from me as an individual person. So back on those role list views, you can use this to control very quickly who has access to which tab. Now, as I mentioned at the start of the webinar, if you're using Salesforce Classic, yeah, there's no configuration to do to use the new project overview. You'll just access the new page in place of the old one. So that would be via the console or by clicking on the project overview button on the detail page. If you're looking to use Lightning Experience, there is a very quick piece of configuration that you'll need to do. Now, in order to use the new overview page in Lightning, you will need to be using you will need to have my domain configured. So if you haven't already got that configured, you will need to go off and do that. So please refer to the Salesforce documentation around setting that up. So I've already got my domain configured. So out of the box, the overview, the new project overview page will look like this. It will have an overview tab and a related lists tab. So what we want to do is update the overview tab to have our new project overview component. So that's a pretty simple process. Up on the top here, we just click on the setup and then click on edit page. So that loads up in the Lightning App Builder. So what we can do is actually remove the detail record from the overview tab. So I'm just going to select that and click on delete. That will remove that now. So what I'm looking for is down in the custom components. I'm looking for the one that says project overview. So what I'm going to do is just click on that and drag and drop into that section. So that just shows that that's been added. So now up in the top I can click on save. Now if you haven't already set this as your default, you will want to click activation and you'll be asked to set this as your org default. So once you've done that, you can close that and then you can go back to setup. And then you can click back and that will take you back into the Lightning experience, where you'll see that we've now updated our project overview and we've now got the overview component sitting there in place of the detail page. The other really cool feature that we've included in this release, which complements the project overview page, is a new component that we're referring to as the trackpad. So you can see over on the right hand side of the page here, I've got the trackpad available on my project overview page. Now it gives me quick access to four key things. It allows me to look at the chatter feed. So if I jump through and take a look at the chatter feed, that allows me to obviously collaborate with colleagues, keep up to date with everything that's been going on the project. The next tab is the timeline. So the timeline pulls in key information from all of the objects, such as the project, the milestone, the action, the expenses, time logs, and risks. Or give me one long timeline of everything that's been going on the project. So if I'm looking to try and get up to date with everything that's happened, that would be a good place to come. I also am able to click on log time. That will load up the time logger that allows me to log time, or once I've selected an action, I will be able to start or stop tracking time as well. And similarly, the log expenses is a page that lets me log expenses relating to this particular project. So I'm able to specify the category, enter an amount or a distance, enter my notes, and then my approval pending or submitted. I also am able to upload like an image of a receipt and then log that expense. While using the project overview page, I have the option to either display the trackpad, or I can collapse it out of view so I can have more real estate on the page for the project overview. So you'll notice there, while I'm looking at the trackpad embedded onto the project overview, I've got this cross up here, so I can just tick on that and that will collapse that down here. So I'm able to use the full width of the page for my project overview page. Now when I'm ready and I need to pull that back, simply tick the arrow there and that will expand the trackpad again. Now the trackpad, as I say, is accessible on the right hand side of the project overview. However, As it's a standalone component, you can also add it to other pages within Lightning Experience as well. So, for example, you could easily add it to the home page so you can quickly see everything that's going on across all of your projects. Now, again, that would need the My Domain configuration setting as well. In a similar style to how we've given you the ability to control who can see what on the project overview page, you've got the same control over the tabs on the trackpad. So again, if I just jump through to my role object, there's another list view here, role permissions trackpad, which gives you all of the fields that you need to control who can see what on the trackpad. So what I'm able to do is set my default tab, and again I've got mine set to timeline. I can choose from any of those tabs as to which one I want to load by default. Then I can determine whether I can actually see the trackpad, and then if I can, which of the tabs can I actually access. So I can see the expense logger, the trackpad feed, the timeline, and the time logger. So if each one of these are true or false, that will determine whether I can actually see them on my when I'm looking at the trackpad. For customers using Lightning Experience, you'll now be able to create your own Lightning app that will be able to take advantage of the new utility bar component that is available within Lightning Experience. So what we're going to do is walk through creating an example Lightning app, and we'll show you how you can actually add in components to the utility bar that will allow you to access the time logger and the expense logger components. So let's jump in and walk through that. So the first thing I need to do is click on Setup. Then from Platform Tools, expand Apps, then App Manager, and then I'm going to click on New Lightning App. So there's this step-by-step wizard where I have to go through, do the branding, app options, add what's going to be on the utility bar, select the items, and then assign to profiles. So I'm just going to walk through each step here. So I'm going to upload a logo here. Now it specifies here that the logo needs to be 128 pixels by 128 pixels. So what we'll do is make this this logo available via the global chatter group, so you'll have access to download it from there. And then I'm just going to specify the hex color that matches the logo, and then I'm going to click on next. So obviously we're choosing standard navigation here, and then next, and now my utility bar. So this is where I can add components that will appear in the footer in the utility bar at the footer of the page. So I'm going to scroll down, and again I must have my domain configured to be able to access these custom components. The first one I want to add is the log time component. So I'm just going to make some changes here. So I'm going to call it log time. Now I know the icon, I can go off and look at the utility icons on the Lightning design system, but the one I want to use is called clock. So once that's done, I'm just going to add another one. I'm going to add log expenses. And the icon I want to use for this one is called money bag. So I'm just going to reorder these because I'd like my log time to come first. Once I'm happy with that, click next. Now this is where I will choose which objects I want to appear on the navigation menu. So I'm just going to go through and make selections based on my preference. Once I've made those selections, I click next. and then I choose which profiles I want to assign this to. So I'm going to add that to everyone and click Save and Finish. So now that I've got my Lightning app created, what I can do is go back into Salesforce in the Lightning Experience front end and select my app launcher, and then I'll have my new Mission Control Lightning app in there, so I can select that. And now you'll see down the bottom we have our utility bar. Now what I'm able to do is click on the log time option, and that will allow me to log time against any project from anywhere in Salesforce. Similarly, I can click on the log expenses tab, and that will allow me to log expenses against any project from anywhere in Salesforce as well. There are also a few minor enhancements that we're including as part of this release. One of those is compliance with locker service. As of this release, all Mission Control Lightning components are Locker Service compliant. However, Salesforce had planned to enable Locker Service in all orgs starting with the Summer 17 release, but they've recently stated that rollout plan has been revised, and they will now be only enforcing Locker Service for any Lightning component set to an API version of 40.0. Therefore, whilst Locker Service is still in development by Salesforce, we will be retaining all Mission Control Lightning components to API version 39.0, so Locker Service won't be applicable. The next minor enhancement is the synchronization between Mission Control actions and Salesforce tasks. So when creating an action, there is the option to select the task checkbox. So this also creates a Salesforce task as well as the action. When completing the action, you previously had to also complete the task separately, or vice versa. So the action trigger has now been enhanced to now set the task to completed if the action status is set to complete, and a trigger has been added to the task object that will update the action status to complete once the task is completed. So this will only apply where the action ID on the task record contains the action ID of the relevant record. And the completion percentage fields have been given a slight enhancement. So previously the completion percentage on the milestone and project objects were calculated based on the hours completed divided by the hours scheduled. To support customers that are not actually logging time, we've enhanced these formula fields to now enable you to measure the completion percentage based on the number of completed actions divided by the total actions. So to support this enhancement, two new roll-up summary fields have been added to the milestone and the project. One of them is total actions, which counts all of the related actions, and the other one is complete actions, which counts all actions where the status is complete. And the formula fields have been modified, so they now, if no time has been logged, they will basically divide the completed actions divided by the total actions, and once time has been logged, it will revert back to the original formula of hours completed divided by hours completed and hours remaining. And once the milestone or the project status field is set to complete, the formula will automatically return a result of 100%. And finally, the project cost enhancements. There's three fields on the project record, sorry, on the project object that have been slightly revised. They are the total project cost scheduled, total project cost actual, and total project cost forecast. These formula fields have been enhanced to take into account the hours cost, the material costs, and any expenses. So for full details of all of those formula field adjustments, please refer to the release notes. So the release schedule for the new version of Mission Control is as follows. So as of the 31st of May, it will be available from the App Exchange for you to manually upgrade. On the 7th of June, we will be automatically upgrading all sandbox orgs, and on the 14th of June, we'll be automatically upgrading all production orgs. So certainly if you've got any questions during that time, please feel free to reach out to me directly, or you can get in touch via our support desk by emailing support@aprica.com.au. And as always, we look forward to hearing your feedback. Thanks, guys. Bye.